welcome back to Women Making Moves, where we celebrate the moves that women are making. My name is Amy Pons, founder of Unlock the Magic, Coaching and Healing. I'm joined today with Bridgette Washington. Bridgette, the CEO and founder of RaveVenn, a social media app, is dedicated to empowering and engaging young adults, both registered and unregistered voters, to make more informed decisions that will ultimately preserve our democracy. Washington's extensive background spans over 25 years in medical device and surgical sales, account executive roles at prominent Fortune 100 companies, including Abbott, Iron Mountain, Coloplast, and Covidien. Her natural talent and skill set were honed by effectively motivating challenging audiences, such as surgeons who are deeply invested in their patients' well-being. This interest in public service led her to politics after the 2020 presidential election, where she became increasingly intrigued by the challenge of galvanizing another underserved audience, young adult voters and non-voters. Washington is currently developing the RaveVenn application. This platform is specifically designed to focus on democratic governance by sharing political news from diverse perspectives and more. RaveVenn aims to identify and dispel misinformation, focus on candidates' legislative positions and votes, and provide updates on state laws that impact and/or preserve our democracy. Washington recognizes the significance of our democracy in this country, given it's only been a democracy since the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and is committed to ensuring its continued relevance. She believes that the RaveVenn application will empower the most influential citizens in our society, well-informed, determined voters, to play a pivotal role in shaping our future. Bridgette, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate you, Amy. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. I have so many questions or so many things. So I love that you point out specifically that it's since 1965. A lot of well-intentioned white women get real amped about 1920. And I'm like, y'all, I've actually timelined out from 1920 to 1965. There were waves of different groups of women. Like 1924 was Native American women.
Mm-hmm.
So it just happened in waves. It wasn't all women. And I think that's one of the things that I try to educate without judgment to well-intentioned white women, especially, to say, hey, because I used to be an amazing white feminist. I would shout from the rooftops about things that really only impacted white women. And then I learned that I did differently. And now it's all about all women. Does this impact all women? One of the things that's irking me right now is the number out on LinkedIn, the 212,000 women that have left the workforce. I'm like, no, that doesn't include the 350,000 Black women. So we're actually at over 500,000 of women, but let's make sure it's all women.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love the 65. That's something that I feel like a lot of people just still don't know.
They just don't seem to recognize that while this country the four founders of this country may have had a democracy in mind, it was a democracy for a certain few. Right. And so until the people who actually built this nation and created generational wealth for the people who were running it and did it for free, until people realized that those very same people and their descendants who were brought here, illegally.
Without, they didn't want to? Without
Exactly. Without their consent, were stolen, until people recognize that this place has only been basically what I call, to be perfectly honest, a piss poor democracy since 1965. And since 1965, they have been clawing at every turn those rights back with simple things like dates and all kinds of things on little small insignificant mistakes someone may make on a voting ballot, like when a mail-in voting ballot. So until people recognize that really our democracy is absolutely the youngest on the planet Earth, then they don't really have a true understanding about what the hell is going on and how visceral these people feel about reversing democracy in order to create an autocratic oligarchy.
I mean, so the word democracy, like, have we actually ever had a good democracy dating back to 1776? So the paper, the Constitution, was written by white men for white men. It wasn't until years later that even non-landowners and white women were considered an entity, like a human being. So I guess I go back to all the old systems have to come down and completely come out of commission. And I'm acutely aware and feel such empathy for the way it's happening and unfolding right now, a lot of human loss and suffering. And I have like a let 'em kind of vibe too. It's like let the titans clash and bring it all down so that
Hmm.
we can be there to create the new. But
Hmm.
we're still operating on the systems that didn't include us.
Yeah.
So I'm not interested in building on top of that any longer. So people are like, Amy, do you want to like scrap the Constitution? I'm like, kinda. I mean, what if we started from scratch?
That would be good. I mean, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, because how interesting would that be? Like on TikTok, they talk about how there's a soft secession happening, right? Because the red states that provide no federal dollars at all, the donor states, are hell bent on controlling everything and taking power where they shouldn't take power. That's being undemocratic, basically, against the larger states who are democratic and more along the ways of democracy, right? And so I don't know. This was not on my bingo card. Like
Mm.
I totally did not think that the country could be so ill-advised as to choose this individual. When Kamala Harris stepped out and said, show up and show out, she meant that. And culturally, I know what that means. That means putting, whatever the event is, like put on your best dressed type of a situation, like show up, show out. This is a time to show up early. This is a time to have all your ducks in a row. And the voter participation this past election was not what we wanted it to be. It really wasn't. Media played a humongous role in that. And all of the systems that we have where people get their information are owned by people who are benefiting from this. And so that was the reason why I created RaveVenn, because I was so livid once I saw the coming together in when did I start? I started RaveVenn. I came up with this idea in like late 2022. And then I really went to state of Illinois in 2023, the beginning, and in 1871. Once I saw Elon Musk and Donald Trump coming together, because I used to be on Twitter, it just angered me to no limit. I was just like, oh my God, this is just horrible, because it's a quick way to get information, links to articles and things like that. And so, yeah, don't let me get started, girl. I haven't, I can go on and on and on about this, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about I think that the Constitution is a living, working document, and that it should be adjusted to include for people to live their best lives.
So you nailed it. And I feel that we have not actually treated it as a living, working, breathing document. It is
Yes.
so outdated. And so
Yes.
there almost needs to be an annual, and it'd probably take a whole year. I don't know. Maybe it's like every 3 years or something. There's like not even political party. I want every type of human that exists on this plane to be in that room every 3 years and to be modernizing it.
Yes, because if we let political parties do
Yeah,
it,
no.
then that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
Because the
So,
other political party is just bastardizing control and just stealing control and just gerrymandering, all of that. I don't know how we adjust it, because I mean, what we got going on right now, Amy, is bad, bad, bad. I mean, the Supreme Court, what in the hell is I mean, it's mind boggling. Right now I'm getting my passport together. Trust and
I mean,
believe.
so that's what's interesting. It's not at all suggesting that I'm like, woohoo, the systems are coming down. It's all being dismantled. But I do find such peace. We cannot build on the old system. So they, of course, have to come down. So it's going to actually get worse, like in
Yeah.
terms of like the humaning perspective of it and the day to day, and more will come out. And because this is a time where all the systems are coming apart, but beautifully and divinely, so that we
Yeah.
can create the new. So I try to find
I
that.
understand what you're saying.
I'm trying
Because
to find that space of peace each day between like
mm-hmm.
Oh, let me provide such energetic support to all the
Mm-hmm.
humans that it's impacting, including myself,
Mm-hmm.
while understanding that it's all unfolding exactly as it's meant to. It's a
Mm-hmm.
hard line to, I know.
I think you get that from having a better understanding and perspective as it relates to energy. The only reason I'm even doing this is because I discovered it was a slow trail from Abraham Hicks, right, all the way to manifestation, Neville Goddard,
Yeah.
just so many of those voices. There's a podcaster that I watch. He's a British guy, black guy, but he has a lot of this type of energy information on there. And just because I like reading and learning and then practicing with the universe. That's funny. That's really fun and funny. When it just that once you learn there's no coincidences and
Mhm.
it becomes on this entire journey. When I tell you what happened to me that really made me go 10 toes down in this direction, to hell with corporate America, to hell with everything. I'm just going to trust the process, trust the universe, and complete what I've decided, what I know should be complete. It was such a beautiful experience that it led me here. And every time I turn around, there's a coincidence that's not a coincidence, that's so beautiful, that I'm so grateful to have learned a tiny bit what you already know.
You are
Mm-hmm.
closer than you think. Yeah, we were meant to know each other. It's
Mm-hmm.
like we've known each other before. And
Mm-hmm.
it's when you're only, and this is a lot of my daily work with my clients, like when we have only been trained and conditioned to be in the human
Yes.
experience and
Right.
to rely on the systems. And so,
Mm-hmm.
of course, as those are unfolding or as those are dismantling, and you're still in that place where you're super reliant and haven't gone back inward, which is
Mm-hmm.
that's really the work, quote unquote, is going back in and seeing what is your first instinct, your first intuition, your first what's in your DNA, what's in your bloodline, what's coming through from
Mm-hmm.
your ancestors, from spirit,
Mm-hmm.
remembering that first and
Mm-hmm.
foremost, you're a soul having a
Mm-hmm.
human experience, and we're only taught the human experience. So of course, and it took a lot of unraveling for me. Personally, I was
Mm-hmm.
that corporate. Oh my gosh, 5 years ago, I was the
Oh
corporate
wow, that wasn't even that
autopilot.
long.
Yeah, short
That
time.
wasn't even that long ago.
Uh-uh.
Okay,
And
okay,
I mean, actually, I left 3 years ago.
okay,
So it was even less, but I was coming out of it. I was coming out of
okay.
the only human. So it gets to be both. And just because and I'll wrap up here because I could say all day about energy, but when you stop to consider that more than one thing can be true at once, which
Mm-hmm.
in this time and space can be, wow, humans are directly impacted. And it's on a humaning level, it's going to get even harder to exist day to day. And from an energetic, from a new paradigm, from a literal cosmic shift that we're all experiencing, you start to understand, like, oh, of course it has to come down. And then we start being laser focused on what we are creating, what we do want, rather
Mm-hmm.
than what the old is, how it's impacting us. We get to choose
Mm-hmm.
the navigation from day to day. And this is gonna get harder as it relates to our food sources, our daily livelihood, our
Mm-hmm.
homes, our physical safety, all of that's going to be impacting the human. So it's again navigating what your okayness looks like from moment to moment as you're navigating this a little bit treacherous, not a little bit, this very treacherous human moment
Mm-hmm.
because you remember from your crown chakra, you remember what it feels like and why you chose to be here in this space and time. Spoiler
Mm-hmm.
alert, we all chose to be here as a soul in this space and time to experience the systemic change. So,
Yes, I agree with that because there was times from back in the day. Obviously, there's no parts of me that could have handled that at all. So
same.
I
Yeah.
I
Mm.
I can see how that happens. And the other thing I'm trying to remind myself that America is one country, right? It's not the only country.
Even though
Yes, yes. Our marketing for our own self has been really good. Like really, it really is such that you really kind of be 10 toes down in it. And not that I'm not. It's just that this country has thrived on racism its entire existence. Racism and entitlement, and until that changes, I mean, I just, ugh.
And that's why it has to come down. It's only been built on what they knew back in the 1700s, which was power over someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that is not the vibe going forward. The vibe going forward is standing 10 toes down in your own self first,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that then you can be an amazing steward for yourself, for your neighbor, and for the land. That's
Exactly.
the vibe.
That's the vibe.
And we can see how the old systems we don't have room for the old in that new vibe. So that's where it's like, okay, then you navigate from day to day, like what you can release yourself. I would invite everyone to understand, how are you participating in the old systems?
Mm-hmm.
Start there.
Start there. Absolutely. And the only reason that the old systems are, some people voted for the old system to thrive, is because the core of it is hate.
Yeah.
And those very same people allowed that core and also the entitlement thinking to believe that it would not affect them. What they didn't seem to realize is that hate is infectious and insidious, and it has no boundaries, right? And so now that it's affecting those very same people who voted for it, they're up in arms about it. Oh my God, right? And so this is just a very interesting time because, yeah, it's a very interesting time.
And I'm going to throw something else energetic out there that's hard to wrap our minds around, our human minds. We're not separate from each other.
Exactly.
We're all
Exactly.
one. So it's like,
yes,
the hate is, we hate ourselves.
Yes.
If you lead with hate, you hate yourself. So
Yes.
that's, someone's like, wait, what? I'm not this administration. We're a collective consciousness. So we all created this moment. That's why I'm saying energetically, we can also create something different.
We absolutely can. We do have the power for that.
It's an energetic, spiritual ask right now, and that's a little bit different than we're used to. So
it is. It's asking people to look inward, and that sometimes people are incapable of doing that, and incapable of thinking outside of the normal confines, like religion, and they just refuse to step outside of that, and because history has been snatched from us, accurate history, people don't know how. Basically, it's a whole nother conversation. We won't even get into that, but yeah, it's a lot. We could talk all day long, Amy.
We'll have an event next time.
Yes.
We'll just have an all-day event. So, RaveVenn, I can't wait for this moment in time because I'm an elder millennial. There's so much that, and I don't watch main news outlets anymore, but it is hard to kind of get what's really happening. And again, I go inward and I'm like, okay, what should I know? What should I not know? But when it comes down to something like an election, and we have primaries coming up next year, that's what I'm excited about your app for. Like, tell us a little bit deeper about RaveVenn and what it offers. Some of the things that I listed in your bio that I'm so excited about is that you can see the historical way that someone up for your local election has voted. It matters. But also, will RaveVenn show me, and I'm oversimplifying it, Bridgette, please forgive me, but will I be able to, let's say, put in my zip code and say, what are all the things that came true this year and how does this impact me to influence my vote? Something like that?
You'll be able to put in your zip code and find your legislator and figure out what your legislator actually voted for.
Okay.
And what they didn't vote for.
Okay.
So you'll know that. You'll also be able to put into the platform your zip code to find your local news that's all about politics. So this is not about anything else. This is all about our governance. So yes, in those two ways, you'll also be able to search by your zip code and know where to go to vote, that type of information. I'm sorry.
What about, so I felt, and I was, again, in the 24 election, I was getting specific downloads from the universe, from my guides, that they're like, Amy, you know it's going to be him, right? And I was like, I know, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try, because they were giving me a glimpse into what all has to come unfold and everything. One of the things that I was always flabbergasted about, and I'm in Chicago, so Wisconsin was the state that we were talking to the most, the either non-information or misinformation of hearsay, and kind of what you were talking about a couple minutes ago, about how the most wild news stories would come out, or it was just like a constant propaganda the whole time. Specifically in RaveVenn app for non-voters, are they interested in the truth? Are they like, I want them to go to RaveVenn and actually see the truth and get the truth, because I found so many
Yes.
people up in Wisconsin, no offense to Wisconsin, that just didn't know. For instance, I would bring up Project 2025 and they'd be like, "What's that?" Oh gosh, that's the roadmap. That's the blueprint. So that's what was interesting to me. So I was like, well, go here, and I would give them all these resources. Do you foresee that kind of a vibe in RaveVenn for the folks who just don't know some of the bigger
Yes. So
pieces?
yes. So that's the reason why RaveVenn is set up the way it's set up, because we get our information from social media, right? People are on all these various different apps, and you have all of these oligarchs suppressing actual factual information, or information that we need to know. Like, we wouldn't even know about the protests unless you have carefully curated your own For You page, right? But it doesn't spread like it should spread, right? So yes, there's a section in this app that dispels and corrects and gives you the accurate information about mis and disinformation. So yes, because that's key.
But they have to want to kind of find it. Because
No. It's a
oh,
whole section.
okay.
It's a whole section. And then in my testing of my app, that was the section that the younger people went to first, because it was like tea, like, oh, what's this tea? You know what I mean? Like, when they were talking about eating cats and dogs, well, then you'll be able to see various articles of how all that's bullshit, basically, right? And so it's set up for that. When they put out a big lie, there'll be information that dispels all of it.
Amazing. So where's RaveVenn at right now?
RaveVenn is in the Google Play Store, and in just about a week or so, it should be in the Apple Store.
Amazing. That's exciting. What does your launch look like?
Well, what I'm looking to do is get a small amount of users at the colleges and universities in Chicago to test it out with those type of people, because that's my target audience. The voting participation in the 18 to 29-year-old group declined by 3% last year. Now, granted, there was a lot of those votes, I think, were suppressed in the 7 states. The other side did a lot of suppression in Atlanta and Wisconsin, with bomb threats and, extra long lines, closing polls, power going out, all kind of situation. But this is one of those situations where, if they have heard of the phrase show up and show out, we need more than just 47%, 50%. We need their voter participations at 60, 65. So we need everybody to damn vote, basically. You know what I mean? But we need to get those voter participation numbers up. And so my target audience, 18 to 29, there was a 3% decline in turnout last year. Those numbers were corrected. At first, it was like 8%. But Circle Tufts sent out a correction, which was great, because at first I like, oh. So, and even more, a higher percentage, I want to say it was around 6 or 7% more towards non-democratic policies, basically. So we basically need more people to show up to vote, to make sure that democracy is first and foremost. So anyway, about 150 to 200 students is what I'm targeting initially for University of Chicago, Northwestern, all of the universities in Chicago, to test it with them. And then after that, getting their feedback, then it would be rolled out. I mean, it's rolled out to everybody now on the Google Play Store. But my point is, targeting is at the universities is where I'll be starting.
We're talking about this word democracy.
People don't understand what it means.
Well, but also what if the young people don't want this democracy? And so by virtue of them not wanting this particular democracy, they're opting out on purpose to create the new democracy, which I don't know how that would all come to form, but like if you opt out of this one, maybe is that what they're doing?
Well, you would think, because that's not what happened. I mean, it was not a great number, 50% that showed up in 2020 to actually show up to vote. I think basically the pain and the ramifications of what's happening right now may influence some critical thinking skills. Throwing the baby out with the bathwater is not the smartest way to do it. The way to do it is to keep the baby in the damn bathwater and jump in the bath yourself. Get involved, right? Run, participate. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It is something you need to be 10 toes down in on a daily basis, right? So the ramifications of what's happening is the biggest motivator, I would think, to get some of these young people to exercise some critical thinking skills. Either that or things will just get incredibly worse.
Oh, I agree with that. I think the other challenge is that I think we keep proving that the two-party system isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's really hard in the United States, though. What's interesting is I had some people who I was, asking for money because RaveVenn is a PBC and I also have the RaveVenn nonprofit, right? And so I was asking for money and they were just like, well, in some instances, well, you're just trying to do something for the Democrats. And I'm like, actually, no, I'm not. This is about democracy. It is only because one political party has decided to hell with democracy that it makes it seem as if I'm doing something to promote Democrats, which I am absolutely not, because I personally believe we need a three-party system because there's too many of the Democrats that have been around far too long and do not know or do not believe or are a part of the systems that do not fight the way they need to be fighting. This politically correct niceness or what have you. That's why people are also excited about Gavin Newsom, because he can troll just as hard as anybody else, right? And if that's what it takes to get people to understand, that you at least have to be willing to fight fire with fire, you know what I mean? Then people will be on board with that. So no, this isn't about a political party at all. This is solely about democracy. It is about us. It is about living in a democracy and people getting out of your damn business. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let free will be what free will is supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Let free will be what it's supposed to be. That's a birthright. And
yes,
the unfortunate part, this is why it's like the next election with the lines that are being drawn and the courts are upholding it and all of that. It's like you can be as informed as possible and then it may still not matter.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what's it going to take or how many years. I mean, we've strayed so far from having some basic laws precedent to rely upon that it's really kind of unimaginable. I just would not have thought that the Supreme Court would have been so blatantly corrupt. You know what I mean? And I don't mean the entire Supreme Court. I really just mean 6 justices. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine being Ketanji going into work every day?
I could not. I know she got to be like, God, why did I get on the Supreme Court at this time?
And this is a lifetime appointment. Oh, okay, here we are. Like, I worry about her well-being all the time.
Her mental well-being. Like, I hope she's into her whole chakras, Elena Kagan, yes, absolutely. Because
Ketanji Brown Jackson, I will be your personal chakra balancer, free of charge. Reach out.
Yes, it can't be easy to see the backflips and cartwheels they are doing. They're basically just playing in our faces. That's what the young folks say. You playing in my face right now. You know what I mean? And what's so blatantly obvious is all of the things they've allowed this man to do to go against the Constitution. And the one thing Joe Biden wanted to do, which he actually did get done, primarily, he wasn't able probably to do it to the extent that he wanted to, but he helped me and a lot of other people, which was the student loans, right? He wanted to erase those debts for people who had predatory student loans, and they wouldn't even allow him to do that, right? Luckily, because he's an attorney and a smart guy, he went around that. Yes.
Feeling into your field. So the good news is RaveVenn exists, and it's going to be the go-to with all of the
Yes.
upcoming elections, both local, national. As we've learned from humanity overall, is that when we move through the younger generations, they're wanting to kind of get back into community. Is there a place in RaveVenn that these young folks or non-voters will be able to commune with each other?
Yes. And also, RaveVenn is a living and breathing app, right? And my total goal is to make sure that we live in a democracy, right? So by any means, that's going to happen, basically. Currently, right now, RaveVenn, I mean, people can message each other and commune with one another as they do on any other type of social media app. But there is various sections in there where I'm going to allow people to come together and just commune with one another, just like you say. So that there will be that space. It's not there now, but it will be. As a matter of fact, RaveVenn is a 6-page app. Right now, I'm on one page because you got to take it in baby steps. So essentially, it just takes money to grow it all the way out to what I need it to be. And I need that to happen ASAP because the elections are coming very soon. And I need to snatch the attention away from all of the other things that are keeping people really busy. All of the beautiful puppies and the, beautiful babies and clothes and things, to recognize, hey, pay attention over here. This is what you need to be really focused on right now. So
amazing. So as we start to wind down, what would you share with someone who is just done with all of it, that is so overwhelmed right now within the way everything is going within the government? They actually are done with democracy. What would you say?
There literally is no better form of government. So without a democracy, what are your options? This is where critical thinking comes in. There is going to be a type of government, right? And so if you are done with democracy, do you actually think? And there are some people who may think that, and those are not people who will be Raveners, right? And that's fine. Go bless your heart, all of that. Bless your heart. But it's clear that living in a government of the people, for the people, by the people is the best type of government. Now, what that requires is for you to always be plugged in, right? Because it is not a spectator sport. So I can't really, because we've never really and still have never reached a constitutional republic or a democracy, I think we're still striving for that goal, right? What we've lived in has always been a skewed system. So the work is not done. The work will never be done. That's what life's about.
So if you're done with this democracy, create it.
Exactly.
Create what you do want. Create what it would take for every human that exists right now on this, let's just keep it to, North America or US. Every type of human that exists in the US, that you create space, you create democracy for all of them. That's what we create.
Mm. Yeah.
Where can we find you and support your work? Is there, how can people pay you and get you funded?
I do have a GoFundMe. I definitely have a GoFundMe. I haven't advertised it a lot, but I did just recently get a Kiva loan, which was great. That was very helpful. It helped me turn my business into a public benefit corporation. It helped me to create my MVP. It helps me for all of the services that you need on a monthly basis, all of these tech companies or whatever that you have to pay them for. So, and also my trademarks. So it was very helpful. And so, yes, I will give you my GoFundMe, definitely. And if you're interested in RaveVenn and you think you would be, you'd like to be a tester of it, definitely reach out to me. It's in the Google Play Store. And you spell it RaveVenn because I'm rave. I'm raving about like the whole word kind of came together like really crazy, but rave and then Venn are interlocking circles, which is the symbol of a democracy. So I'm raving about the democracy that we're that we're in. So yes, that's how you would find me. Like I said, I will give you my GoFundMe. And also RaveVenn's in the Play Store. It will be in the Apple Store in just about a week or so. We just started that process like Wednesday. And it takes about a week to get approved on Apple.
Do you or RaveVenn have a website?
Yes, I do. It's not an interactive website but it's ravevenn.com and then app.ravevenn.com. And again, RaveVenn. But you can sign up to be an initial tester on ravevenn.com.
Closing remarks as we wrap up.
What's happening in our country is what we are allowing to happen. We allowed this to happen. People deciding to check out to whatever reason that they decided to not show up. We could have still worked on trying to fix this country's democracy under a Harris administration, right? But at least we wouldn't be have laws that are being broken on a daily basis, businesses being ripped out of families. I mean, just all of the debauchery that's happening. We wouldn't have that. And we are. And again, we need some help in our democracy just in general. We really do. So it wouldn't have been perfect under Harris, but it still would have been one more step towards a more perfect union. Which obviously there's no such thing as a perfect union, but a step towards it is always better than a ginormous leap backwards.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for creating RaveVenn.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you asking me to be on this podcast. I really do. Thank you, Amy.